Okay, so today, I know I haven't been making videos in a minute, and that is because I lost my recording device. And I started taking, I have, let's say this, I just have so many videos. A lot of them I still haven't even placed on this platform. A lot of them are still like in storage, but I do have a lot on this device. This used to be what I used to call as my phone. I used to use it as a tablet, everything else. Um, but it started to slow down, and not only that, I wasn't able to get my call, so it was interrupting a lot of things. So I had to buy a cell phone and just take the. I'm still able to use and receive calls from this tablet, but I just went and got another phone or whatever. So I used this one to record. But it was just a funny thing that happened when I went to work a couple of days ago. My phone just disappeared. I had it in my coat pocket, and because at one of my jobs I'm not able. I got a couple of jobs, but at one of my jobs I'm not able to have my own personal code. Even though when you go outside to record things, you can have a code, but you have to have the company's code. So, you know, and I tried to like not do that because I got a North Face, and North Face is kind of very discreet for the most part, other than that one logo. But now we can't have them. So anyhow, I had it up, and I could not find when I got finished. I could not find my I could not find my device. I couldn't find this. So I was like, forget it. God had gave me this thing to put on this platform on YouTube, and to talk a little bit more about the process that He's bringing me out of, and some of the things that I wanted to talk about the shifting of the change. And I wasn't able to um, I wasn't able to do it with my phone. It was so weird. I could, even though I have a very updated iPhone, um, the material, like I said, it was not doing the best, and I just got it fixed, which is crazy because it's brand new, and it's supposed to be the best out there and all that other stuff. So anyhow, um, yeah, so that's why I did not record and put this message on there earlier. What I do want to talk about is what I was supposed to put on there. I hope I can remember it. Um, First of all, I want to thank the people who have stuck with me through this process. I know a lot of people are like, when is she going to go? She was supposed to be doing all this stuff for the pageant. When is it supposed to be done? This is taking a long time. This is taking 5 years. I'm going to say this. This is all dealing with God's timing. Sometimes I can feel it. God can show you certain things, but if you're not in a flow of God, then you can miss out on a lot of opportunities and things that God has placed for you to do. And when God gives you something, it's not overwhelming. And I learned through this process. I learned that through this process. When I was going through what I was going through, yes, there were a lot of people that were offensive. There were a lot of people who betrayed me. There were a lot of people that just was very, 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 very evil, and just very, very mean, okay? Mean spirited, mean hearted. It was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of overwhelming things. But one thing I noticed is that about myself is that point blank going through this process, I was not ready. I was not ready. I was not ready. I was not ready to step into what God had for me. And had I had it earlier at that time, because I'm thinking just a pageant, just something that point A to point B, something, a goal, set it, attain it, that's it. I'm thinking just directly that way, and people see my life and see that way. Had I went that way in that route, and made it like God told me, I would not be able to handle the weight. See, all of that comes with pressure. That comes with pressure. I should have been able to stand against that, And because I was not prepared, God just slowly took it away from me, without embarrassment, without the extra frustrated, and He got a chance to deal with me, and I'm so, so grateful for that. Now, even through those years, you're like, okay, God had more than enough time to deal with, that sounds like laziness. Some of it, I'm going to say some of it is because it becomes with fear. I had a lot of fear about the different stages of God. Like, when God was preparing me, certain things He was telling me, it just sounded so unorthodox. And then you get scared, you pause, but then it's like it's nowhere else to turn, and you do it, and then you see God's, at work. So, you see God at work. So, or God's plan at work. So yeah, that was part of it. God dealing with that and dealing with me with fear, being able to stand stronger. When people are against you, because even though you might be doing something for a good cause, there's going to be always somebody that is against you. I don't give a care whether good or bad. There's always somebody against you, and you have to understand that. Another thing that I learned during this time when God was dealing with me is that life is not a playground. Life is a battlefield. When I was a kid, I promise you, I used to say life is a playground because I used to be able to travel and do so much and just go out of the way. And then, the more I started learning about my life and getting more centered and learning God, it changes your mindset. It's like I can no longer do certain things. What used to be fun, I understand it is detrimental. When I did things, when I was a kid, I did childish things, but when I was a man, I put away childish things, kind of like that. That's exactly what happened to me, things that I didn't even think was childish, as far as hanging out with people, wasting time, because I do a lot of projects, and it's like, Bill, you get so much done with this, but God gives you this energy not just for play and for leisure, even though I can do a lot of things, God gave me that insight, so He was working and developing me to be able to hold the weight. Oh goodness, my head is itching. To hold the weight. And I understand I was asking God to take away these mean people, take away this hurt, take away, the things that I've been through, the pain and all that. But through this process, God has shown me that through the pain, through the obstacles, these are the things that you have to face in order to be greater. You want to be greater, but I'm going to train you how to be greater, how to take rejection, how to deal with rejection. Rejection is God's protection, but how much do you know of that is God's protection? Because when we think about rejection, we think about people saying that. When you first think about rejection, you don't think about rejection as protection. You think about rejection as you're not good enough. Am I worthy enough? Somebody says, who was with you for a good minute, especially of your adult life or your childhood life, and you're trying to please, because you try to please people who are around you, who you care for. I don't give a care who it is. If you don't try to please, something is wrong with you. We all have it, The problem is when we get to people pleasing, saying no matter what my safety is, no matter how much it's affecting me and hurting me and detrimental to others to help this one person, to make this one person to be happy, I'm going to do it. That's when the problem comes. So that's how we think of it. We think of rejection as I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And God has to turn that to me and say, you know what? You are good enough. You are more than good enough because I created you to be that way. But right here, this time and this perspective and these individuals, they only could take you so far. Okay? Your gift, your destiny is not linked to these people. You have to go where your gift can manifest. You have to go where your gift is not only going to be appreciated, but where it's going to be best suited and best used for. When I was in my hometown and in my own areas, I was trying to do so much, and I was involved in so much, and I was getting overlooked, bypassed. Not only that, when I came to this area, it was like somebody took my freaking spiritual foul out. That's a whole nother thing. but it looked like my spiritual file got transferred or something. So, and it was just like that. These people, but I had to learn that what God was doing was changing my mindset. It's not just the area. It's not. It's the people that my mind is getting accustomed to, with my attunements, with my algorithms are coming into connection with. Like, and God is saying, I'm taking you on a higher plane. I'm taking you on a higher plane, and I didn't understand that, but I was like, how am I coming across all these millionaires? Like, God will show you who you're supposed to be around, okay? Even if the enemy shows you all that other stuff, God will show you who you need to be around. It's whether you're believing, which is a stronghold, that you are able to be blessed that way. Point example, I had this woman, I had three of them, matter of fact, who wanted me, when I was going through my struggle, they wanted me to live at their house. One lady had a mansion, and she's still sweet to this day, and I was like, I don't know, I don't need all that. All I need is a blanket and a hot bed and she's like, no, like, you need to do this. And it's like God is telling you, you need to go. When I take you on a higher plane, all your needs are going to be met. I'm a God that makes all your needs to be met, and that was the avenue Him letting me know, like, when God blesses certain people, it doesn't mean that that they're being greedy when they or they're being show offish when they're giving their things or showing their kindness to you, especially when you don't have that on the regular. So from ordinary people. So that's what I had to what God was dealing with me with that. Yeah, and other people, you can't be with other people because you know you deserve better. That was another thing, because I tried to go back, and I noticed that it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me, Another thing with rejection that God had to deal with me is that if they were for you and they was really for you, they would still be there. They would still be there. They would still be there. They would still be there from the jump, okay? It doesn't matter if you went through, and I had a lot of people that I thought should have been there, people that should have been there, but it wasn't, so it was an eye-opener. The next thing I learned from this process is that God was dealing with me with my trust issues and my strongholds with God. Because God, sometimes we look for elevation from other people and confirmation from other people, and your promotion, your elevation, and your confirmation comes from the Lord. Promotion comes from God. During this time, even when I relocated and I was doing more service work, doing more things, some of the people that had the ability to promote me or to shine some light or anything like that did not do it. My promotions came from God. Like, He opened one door, I walked through it. I had to go do, work out some things. It was almost like a test. After I passed that part, and I still had to, I learned one thing, and I kept doing that. Then I moved to another sector. Then I kept doing that. Then I moved to another sector. So yeah, and then another thing with my career, everything, like, I prayed that God open and touch every part of my life, not just, making me just go to heaven, my career life, my financial life, even my hair. I asked God for long hair. That's a whole other thing, but I prayed for God to have long hair back again, because when I was younger, I used to have very, very long hair, like stupid long hair. And I prayed to God to have short hair, because I did not like my hair. A whole nother different story, and I had short hair for quite a bit of time. And now I ask for long hair, and I kind of got long hair. I really do have long hair. So, yeah. So that's what God had me to do. It was dealing with Him developing me, Him opening doors and letting me be able to allow people to stay in your life for a season and a phase, and how to let people go. That was my biggest fear, because in a stronghold, because, if you have a lot of things taken away from you, especially with me, my biggest thing is dealing with people. I can let any kind of material thing go. When people know me, I can let anything, like, materialize, go. But my biggest issue is dealing with people. is dealing with people, and I think most of that is just having to deal with the situation that I dealt with as a kid. Having my mom taken away from me and being in prison for most of my childhood life until I was like about 15, and having my dad being deported and in and out, like in and out. Having my grandmother, developing with my grandmother, my grandmother and my grandfather they kind of raised me for the most part, and then going when they got sick and wasn't able to do it, then going from house to house. It wasn't foster home to foster home, but it was from family member to family member to family member, and at one point it almost was a foster home. Dealing with that and dealing with people, when you think you have a good person or you think you have a good thing, and not to say that all people are bad or anything like that, or the people that I was around was horrible, that's not it. Not some of them were, but not all of them. But when you go through that, you tend to hold them. You tend to hold tight to them, and don't want to let go. It's almost like a jaw of a pit bull, and you don't let them grow. You kind of choke them a little bit because you love them so much. And God had to get me to that point to where, okay, let them breathe, okay? And because you're holding on to them, I can't develop you but that is something that I deal with. So, and especially, oh my God, I had to deal with that with, oh my God, mother figures, like people who are so cool and they're just like, oh my God, in there, And I had some people who had those issues in their adult life who were very close to me and used to do that to me. So it's a habit that God had to break me from. I still struggle with that sometimes. So those were part of the things that I had. And I know you're going to be like, well, what does that have to do with pageantry? What does that have to do with helping others? What does that have to do with serving others? God said before you talk about, somebody else's offense, you have to deal with your own offenses. You have to deal with your own problems. And that is exactly what he did for me. He had me to look at myself as a reflection in the mirror and had me to deal with the issues that were at hand. All of this was developing not just for the people. First, it was dealing with me. Everything that I project and everything that I put out in this atmosphere, in this stratosphere, it was mostly dealing with, thank God the sun is out, dealing with me and my issues. And, oh, it's snowing. Okay. Dealing with me and my issues and the things about me that I need to change that are no longer suitable for me. And I understand that the reason because of that, when you get into this field and when you get into this arena, the enemy, which I mean, when I say the enemy, it is not a human being because we do not wrestle against flesh, okay? I will never wrestle against no human person. They might get you a little ticked off a little bit, but you got to understand, you got to peel back that layer behind it. And I learned that from a whole thing when I was a long time ago. But anywho, I don't wrestle against that. When you get deeper into helping, you're going to see pieces of yourself. You're going to see pieces of your wounded self. The more I started helping and serving people, the more I started to see a reflection of myself, pieces of my broken self that was not healed. And I've seen when I was even when God fixed some things and had me to overcome some things, there were and I thought it was healed. I still could see a reflection of myself that was wounded, and I could see how God healed it versus some of the things that God hadn't. I was still hurting from, So, those were the things that I had to deal with. My wounded self, the little girl inside of me. That is the thing that he was working on, because, like I said, the more you start helping people and you serving, because we all go through this and we're all connected in some kind of way. You just don't go across people for no reason. You just don't come across them for no reason. I started to see myself, and God was letting me know, if you don't take care of that, You won't be able to achieve and go to the next level that I have assigned for you, that I've designed and I have assigned just for you. So you have to overcome this obstacle. You have to overcome this barrier. Whatever issue it is, you got to take away the pettiness. Oh, I'm so petty. Like, that's one thing I had to learn. Like, certain things I can be very petty on. But God, when he deals with you, you have to, when you get elevated, you have to let it go. You have to let it go, and you have to let it just God flow. That's the only way to get to the next level and into the next step. And you want to be able to go into it. Some people can let it go for a minute, and they think that they conquer it, and they never know that it's a constant battle with it. And if you don't check it every day, every day, then it can creep up on you, and it can knock you down like that. So, yeah, that's what God has been doing with me. So understand that from 2015, when I first started these videos, all the way until now, it's been a preparation. Another thing, God had me jumping. Even though I couldn't find a job for it, what the devil meant for evil, God turned it for his glory. God had me to go in different arenas. Like, God was telling me, like, even when I was a kid, that I was going to be in different spots, but I didn't understand it, and then I didn't believe. You know how you just, I'm going to be honest, I didn't believe it. I'm like, me? Why me? You know, God, I know you can do anything, but why me? Why me? I'm nothing. I'm a peasant. But if you do it, I promise you, I'm telling everybody it was because of you, because I know it wasn't nobody else. I mean, nobody. People will, man, I'm telling you, people will kick you to the curb. I've been one of those people, like, people will be mean. Like, when I say mean, brutal, brutal, like, certain things, it was no way I should have been able to do. It was no way. I'm telling you, just to live right now, if I could tell y'all that, like, my testimony is so deep. Like, even my family members know that. They're like, man, like, Belle, you are a miracle, baby. That's why they call me, you are a child of miracles. And I'm telling y'all, I really am. I really am. It's nobody but God. Like, when I tell y'all, it's like something, like, he protects me. Like, when I say protects me, like, yeah. And you can ask God to protect you, like, and he really will. When you get faith and believe, I'm telling you, he'll work on everything else. You don't have to have it polished. He'll have everything else. But I'm telling y'all, from birth, before I could even say amen, he already had me covered, y'all. When I say covered, when I say your mother and your father, when your mother and your father leave you, God will pick you up. That's literally what God did, and he is doing. And he's going to do the same thing for you if you listening. I'm telling you. But anywho, so this is why, you know, I had to go through this. The heartbreaks, all those things, like those heartbreaks, when you deal with people and you're so accustomed to that and you've been hurt, when somebody hurts you, it feels like it's like a wound itself, because now, you know, you have cords to each other. And it's like a meshing. You form this mesh in your family. But when a breakup comes, it's not like you're him and I'm this person, because you guys are together, you're stitched together. It's just like a marriage. Even when you're having a relationship with friends, you know, some of the bonds are not close to as marriage, but think about your best friends and stuff like that. You had years of developing and learning each other. It's like it's like a wound, because it's a ripping away. And that's what I was having. I was having a ripping away when I was going through the hard times. It's almost like, if I could say metaphorically, it's like going through the winter and having cuts on your arm, no coat, and you just had all this protection. Somebody takes your coat and a wolf rips your arm off, or rips, you know, half of your arm off, half of your leg, so you still gotta walk. You gotta walk to the hospital with all these wounds. That's how I felt. That's exactly how it was. That's just like a marriage when you get divorced. It's a flesh ripping away, a spiritual flesh. Like, it's a ripping away, so it feels like you're dying. Think about a wound. When it tries to heal itself, it forms, but the old skin, it'll be a big scab. It'll be dead skin. That's how it is. That's how it is. It hurts. It's open as dead skin. Dead weight. So, yeah, that's what he had me dealing with. Oh, my God, it's 25 minutes. Yeah, it's kind of lengthy, but it is the truth. Um, so during this time, he was working on me. This last couple of days, God told me to make another YouTube channel, and I was like, okay, God, am I supposed to leave or delete all those, or go into hiding? Because sometimes God will tell you to go hide because you're not ready, and the people are not. That's a whole nother thing. God had me to hide when people were not ready. People were trying to go after me. Like, it was crazy. Um, so yeah, uh, yeah, God had me told me that I needed to make another YouTube channel, and I'm gonna still pray about what the title of that channel is gonna be. When I find it, I'm gonna put it in a link. I'm gonna put it underneath so then you can link to it. I'm still going to make videos on this channel. However, the reason for the next channel is because there are a lot of people that are still wounded, and they are babes. And when I say babes, they are very young, dealing with the spiritual realm, and they are very not knowledgeable. And if you come onto this channel, I've noticed that I have a whole variation of a lot of things, and that you will get, if you don't know a lot about life, because life will show you a lot of things. If you don't know a lot about spiritual discernment, if you don't know a lot about the spiritual realm or life, it will get you confused. It will get you very much confused. And that's something that I don't want to do. And I want to narrow this topic down to just dealing with the pageant and dealing with the obstacles that um are in my life. If you look on this channel, you're seeing a lot of things that when I was doing my reporting, when I was doing, being a reporter, there was a lot of things that I was doing with social services. There was a lot of things that I dealt with, and like I said, it's very informational and it's very good for other people to know. However, like I said, I wanted to narrow it down because I am targeted to a focus, and everybody has a certain arena. And at this moment, God is showing me that's the arena that He wants me to go into. So I definitely ask that when I do place this channel on and you see the link, please add it. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, because this is something that is bigger than me, bigger than you and I that are watching. It's something that I hope and I pray that when I take my last breath and I'm out of this world, that people can look at this and say, you know what, dealing with these circumstances, that the laws of the spirit, it never changes. If God made it happen for her, He can make it happen for me. And that's what I want people to see. I don't want them to see that this is Belle and she always comes out on top. And this is how it always been, and she's just different from, that's just how certain people are. Certain people just have that treatment, and some people just know who they are. And I don't want that to be that, because that is not necessarily the case. Some of it, yes, because when you're connected to God, it's like a knowing. But I want to be able to shift and show people to don't look at the vessel. I'm just a vessel. Don't look at the vessel. Look at the principles and the guidelines that I'm following, and connect to that. Follow those principles. Follow those precepts. Follow those guidelines, and you will always be successful. And it might not look like success as what man tells you, because a lot of these things, how I was saying, that don't look like success. If I would have took the road of taking that job that was $80,000 a year and being a reporter and not doing any of this and not facing homelessness and not doing all this, on the outside, I would look like one of the most successful people you have ever met. But I know I would have been heartbroken. I would have been gone. I would have been just like one of my friends who had the same job as I did, who took her life because she didn't agree with what they were putting on her, and the weight of carrying and knowing the truth, that you are pushing out something that is being detrimental to the public, it weighs on your soul. It weighs on your soul. And I'm free from that. I'm free from that. And how, like I said, I'm telling you, God is aligning me. God is blessing me over and over and over again. If you stay to this pattern, if you stay true to who you are, you stay on this pattern, and you follow God's precepts, if you follow the precepts, I promise you, you will be successful beyond this world, beyond this realm, because we live in past something not just physical. I'm saying when my reward is bigger than what I'm seeing. Now I'm seeing the manifestation come into the flesh, but my reward is so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than, I'm telling you, like, God even had me dealing with my health, my mental, my spiritual, like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, I'm going to get off of here because it is 30-something minutes. If you are here, this is not by accident. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. Hopefully something I said or done will help you will help you get closer to your journey, and please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. If you have anything that you had on here that will help you, take it. If you think it's something that someone can use from this, take it. Share it, like it, comment. You can email me back again. Thank goodness some of the emails have been slowing down a lot, so I don't really get, all those emails, those hundreds and those bulks of emails. So I am able to answer some of them, but keep in mind that I am a human, so it might take a little bit for me to respond back. Thank you so much, and stay tuned.